He was at the wheel of his sleek black car, the city lights reflecting off the windshield. His fiancée beside him was talking about wedding plans, flower arrangements, and honeymoon destinations, but he wasn't listening. Because then, out of nowhere, the traffic light turned red, and there she was, standing at the crosswalk, holding two tiny children, twins. His heart froze. His mind went blank. This was the woman he left years ago. It's the woman he thought he'd never see again. Everything he built, his wealth, his power, his carefully crafted life, suddenly felt meaningless. And in that single moment, he realized some truths don't wait to be discovered. They hit you like a lightning strike. Years ago, he walked away. Not because he stopped loving her, not because he didn't care, but because ambition called louder than love. He believed success would fill the gaps he left behind. He believed she would survive. He believed he could outrun his past. But life has a way of bringing back what you think is gone. Now, here she stood quiet, strong, not asking for anything, just existing. And those twins? They were the living proof of everything he had missed. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't a small chance encounter. This was fate. And for the first time in years, he understood something terrifying. Money can't buy back what you lose in love. By the end of this story, you'll see why one moment at a crosswalk changed everything, and why some decisions follow you forever. The moment didn't end at the crosswalk. So that moment began something inside him. The light turned green. His cars moved forward. But his eyes stayed behind, fixed on the reflection in the side mirror. She was still there. Her shoulders were slightly bent, as if life itself had pressed down on them over the years. In one hand, she carried a bundle of firewood tied with rough rope. In the other, two small children walked close to her legs. Matching steps, matching faces, matching eyes. His fiancée was speaking, pointing at something on her phone, laughing softly. He nodded without hearing a word. His heart was pounding, not with excitement, but with recognition. It was her. The woman he once promised a future to. The woman who believed him when he said, "Just give me a little time." Time. That was what he had taken from her.
Oh.
Memories rushed back without permission. A cramped apartment with cracked walls. He used to tell her he was doing all this for them, for their life, for their future. Then came the opportunity, the one people call a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Investors, a bigger city, bigger risks, bigger rewards. And a choice he left with promises instead of plans, left with words instead of certainty. He told himself she would understand. At first, they spoke every day, then every week. Then only when guilt demanded it. Eventually, not at all. Success arrived quietly and stayed loudly. His name appeared in business magazines. His phone never stopped ringing. Money replaced worry. Luxury replaced patience. And somewhere along the way, he convinced himself she had moved on too, that she had found someone better, that she was safe, happy. That lie had lasted for years, until a crosswalk destroyed it. His mansion felt smaller than the apartment they once shared. The silence was heavier. The walls didn't echo laughter, only thoughts. He sat at the dining table, untouched food in front of him, replaying the same image over and over again. The firewood, the children, their faces. There was something familiar in them, something that made his chest tighten. He told himself not to think too deeply. Coincidences happen. Life is unfair. Not every pain belongs to him. But his hands were shaking. The next morning, he stood in his office, staring out at the city he had conquered. For the first time, it looked distant, almost cold. He called his assistant. "Find her," he said, keeping his voice steady. "Everything you can." Hours later, a thin file lay on his desk. He opened it slowly, as if delaying the truth could soften it. Her name, her address, an old neighborhood near the edge of the city. Work history, temporary jobs, cleaning, carrying loads, seasonal labor. He swallowed hard. Then he saw it. 2 children, twins. His fingers froze on the page. He leaned back in his chair, staring at the ceiling, counting years in his head. Dates, months, silences. The numbers lined up too perfectly. Some questions don't ask for permission before entering your life. And some answers don't care if you're ready. For the first time in years, the billionaire felt poor again, poor, in something money could never replace. And deep down, he knew this story wasn't about what he had built, it was about what he had abandoned. He drove there himself. Not the chauffeur, not security, just him, alone in a car that cost more than the houses lining the street he turned onto. The neighborhood looked frozen in time-peeling paint, uneven sidewalks, children playing with things that barely qualified as toys. Every turn tightened something in his chest. This was the kind of place people left behind when they made it. He parked a block away and sat there longer than necessary, watching, telling himself he was only here to confirm a memory, to silence a doubt. Then he saw her again. She stepped out of a narrow doorway, carrying an empty sack. Her movements were careful, practiced. Life had taught her efficiency, not comfort. A few seconds later, the twins followed, one holding the other's hand, arguing softly about something only they understood. Up close, the resemblance was undeniable. The same dark eyes, same shape of the mouth he saw every morning in the mirror. His throat went dry. She hadn't seen him yet. She was focused on tying the sack, smoothing one child's hair, adjusting the other's worn shoe. Small gestures. Intimate. The kind of care built over years, not moments. He realized then that whatever truth he was chasing, it had already lived without him. He followed at a distance as they walked toward a small yard where stacks of firewood were piled unevenly. She lifted a few pieces into the sack with effort that was impossible to ignore. The children tried to help, lifting pieces too heavy for them, laughing when they dropped them. She didn't scold them. She smiled. That smile hurt more than anything else, because it was the same one she used to give him back when she believed love could survive waiting. A man nearby spoke to her briefly. She nodded, handed over the filled sack, accepted a few bills. It wasn't charity, it was work. Honest, heavy. And she did it without complaint. His phone buzzed. His fiancée's name lit the screen. He didn't answer. For the first time in years, the world he'd built felt irrelevant. As he watched, a memory surfaced, one he had buried deep. A night long ago when she stood in their kitchen, pale, trembling, holding something she had tried to hide. "I don't know how to tell you," she'd said. He remembered being distracted. A deal was closing, a flight to catch. He remembered touching her shoulder, promising they would talk later. Later never came. The realization hit him slowly, then all at once. She hadn't disappeared from his life. He had erased her. The twins ran ahead now, chasing each other toward the house. She followed, tired but alert eyes, scanning the street like someone who couldn't afford mistakes. He stepped out of the car without thinking. The sound of the door closing made her turn. For a brief second, confusion crossed her face, then recognition. Her body stiffened. The smile vanished. Something colder replaced it. Not anger, not shock. Distance. They stood facing each other across a few feet that felt wider than any city. "You shouldn't be here," she said quietly. Her voice was different, stronger, guarded. "I saw you yesterday," he replied. At the crosswalk, silence stretched between them. The twins hovered near the doorway, sensing something they didn't understand. "You should leave," she said again. "There's nothing for you here." His eyes dropped to the children before he could stop himself. Her jaw tightened. "Don't," she warned. "How old are they?" he asked. She didn't answer. That answer was enough. Something broke inside him, not loudly, not dramatically. It's just a quiet collapse of every excuse he had ever made. "I didn't know," he said, the words useless even to his own ears. She laughed once, short, empty. "You didn't ask." The door behind her opened slightly. One of the twins looked up at her, then at him. "Mom," the child said. The word hit him harder than any accusation ever could. She placed a hand protectively on the child's shoulder. "This conversation is over," she said. "You made your choices. So did I." She ushered the children inside without another glance and closed the door gently but firmly. He stood there long after, staring at the door, finally understanding something success had never taught him. Some losses announced themselves when they happen. They wait, and when they return, they bring proof. He didn't leave right away. Couldn't. The door had closed, but the moment stayed open, hanging in the air like unfinished business. He walked back to the car slowly, every step heavier than the last. and sat behind the wheel without starting the engine. For the first time in years, there was nothing urgent waiting for him. No board meeting. No investors, no deadlines, just the truth. That night, sleep never came. His mind replayed fragments he had ignored for 2 long missed calls, unanswered messages, conversations cut short by ambition. He remembered how she used to wait for him, how patience had slowly turned into silence, how silence had turned into distance. By morning, guilt had hardened into resolve. He returned the next day. This time, he didn't park a block away. He stopped directly in front of the house. The same narrow doorway. The same cracked steps. He stepped out, dressed not like a billionaire, but like a man who knew he didn't belong there. She opened the door after the second knock. Her expression didn't change. "I told you not to come back," she said. "I know," he replied, "but I need to talk. Just 5 minutes." She hesitated, then stepped outside and closed the door behind her, keeping her back to it. A clear boundary. "What do you want?" she asked. He took a breath. "I want the truth." All of it. She studied his face, searching for something sincerity maybe, or weakness. When she spoke again, her voice was calm, but each word carried weight. "You want the truth now?" she said. "After all this time, I was wrong," he said. "I should have stayed, and I should have listened." "That doesn't change anything, please," he said. "Just tell me, are they mine?" The question hung between them. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked past him, down the street, as if measuring how much of her life she was willing to expose. "Yes," she said finally. "They are." The world seemed to tilt. He felt something rise in his chest. Shock, fear all tangled together. "I didn't tell you because you left," she continued. "Not physically. You were already gone. I tried. God knows I tried. But you were always somewhere else. I would have helped," he said weakly. She turned to face him fully now, her eyes sharp. "I didn't need your money," she said. "I needed you. You chose everything else." Silence followed. Heavy, honest. "You have no idea how many nights. I wondered if I should call you," she went on, "if I should beg you to come back. But then I'd see your face on some magazine, talking about growth and success. I realized there was no room for us in your world." His throat tightened. "What do you want from me now?" he asked. "Nothing," she said immediately. "I built a life without you. It's hard, but it's ours." The door behind her opened slightly. One of the twins peeked out, curious. She softened instantly, resting her hand on the doorframe. "We're fine," she said gently to the child. "Go back inside." The door closed again. "That's why you can't come back into our lives," she said quietly, turning to him. "Because if you do, you don't get to disappear again." The words hit him harder than any rejection. For the first time, he understood the choice in front of him wasn't about money or status. It was about responsibility. And it terrified him more than failure ever had. He nodded slowly. "I won't disappear," he said. She looked at him then, not with hope, not with anger, but with caution earned the hard way. "We'll see," she said. And with that, she went back inside, leaving him standing there, finally aware that knowing the truth was only the beginning. Some truths don't free you. They demand something in return. He didn't go back to his old life. Not that night. Not the next day. For the first time since the empire was built, meetings were canceled without explanation. Assistants waited. Phones rang unanswered. The world that once bent around his schedule moved on without him manned. He let it. Instead, he stood across the street from that small house again, this time at a distance, watching without being seen. He saw her hang laundry in the afternoon light, moving with quiet efficiency. He saw the twins chasing each other in uneven circles, laughing over nothing at all. One tripped. She rushed forward instantly, scooping the child up, checking scraped knees with the tenderness of someone who never had a backup plan. That was when it hit him. This wasn't a story waiting for a dramatic rescue. This was a life already lived without him. The realization hurt more than losing her ever had. He had imagined walking back in, fixing things with money, rewriting the past with power. But standing there, unseen, he understood how fragile that fantasy was. Love wasn't something you could buy back in installments. That evening, he finally returned home to the mansion that once felt like victory and now felt like an echo. Rooms too large, silence too sharp. His fiancée was waiting. "You've been distant," she said carefully. "Something happened." He didn't lie. "I saw my ex," he said. "She has children." Her face tightened. "And they're mine." The truth landed like glass between them. After a long pause, she spoke. "Then you already know what this means?" "Yes," he said. And he did. That night, the engagement ended not with shouting, not with blame, but with the quiet understanding that some truths change the direction of a life, whether you re-ready or not. The next morning, he did something he'd never done before. He showed up with nothing to offer except time. No cameras, no lawyers, no assistants, just him. He knocked. She opened the door, surprise flickering across her face. "I'm not here to disrupt your life," he said before she could speak. "I'm here to earn a place in it. Slowly, on your terms." She didn't answer right away. The twins peeked around her legs, curious again. This time, he crouched down, meeting their eyes, not saying a word, just letting them see him. She studied him for a long moment, searching for the man who once left, the man standing there now. "You don't get to be a hero," she said finally. "You don't get applause. Some days you won't even be welcome." "I know," he said. "I'll still show up." Another pause. Then she opened the door wider. 5 minutes, she said. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. But it was something far rarer. A beginning built on accountability, not regret. And as he stepped inside, he understood the final truth. Success had given him everything except the one thing that now mattered most. And this time, walking away would cost him more than staying ever could. He didn't know how this story would end. Maybe there would be forgiveness. Maybe there would only be distance, managed carefully over time. Maybe the past would never fully heal. But as he sat there, listening to the twins argue softly over a toy, watching her move around the room like someone who had survived disappointment and kept going anyway, he realized something important. Some endings aren't loud. They don't come with dramatic speeches or perfect reunions. Some endings are quiet decisions, to stay present, to take responsibility, to stop running from the consequences of who you once were. And maybe that's what real love looks like when it comes to late, or just in time. If this story made you pause, if it reminded you of someone you lost, or a choice you wish you'd made differently, let us know in the comments. Your stories matter more than you think. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We tell human stories about love, regret, second chances, and the moments that change us forever. Because sometimes the life that humbles us is the one that finally teaches us what matters most.